it's possible, if people could come forward as much as possible, so we can be closer together, just like a family. Very big family tonight, huge family. And just in case we have late couples, and they can very easily sit in the back and say, so I'd like to begin by offering my most humble obeisances to His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj, and being in this beautiful temple that he wonderfully created some years ago. This is my first appearance here in his temple, and I'm so happy to be amongst all you congregational members and devotees. And I feel very honored tonight to be asked to speak to you all. So I'd like to thank you, and I'd like also to say I'm very sorry to the proportion of devotees here tonight that can maybe struggle to hear or to understand English. It's my defect. I should be speaking in Hindi. But I'm not fluent in the language. I know little, but I should actually be speaking in your mother tongue. So please forgive me for not being able to do that tonight. And I very, very much appreciate that you're able to come and listen to my humble class. Thank you. I'd like to begin by just explaining a little bit about myself, because I'm sure that there's many people here, they don't know me and they've never seen me before. Probably this is the first time. And my whole being as a disciple of Srila Prabhupada is to learn to love with all my heart Srila Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada was with us for a very short time. Just 10 years is very short. But yet, in that very short 10-year period, Srila Prabhupada did miraculous things. Miraculous things. And if he would have been with us for another 20 years, we can't imagine what this planet would look like today. But he's left that to you. And I kind of reach out to the younger generations here tonight, because we're slowly but surely handing over the baton. I mean, I'm approaching 70 years of age, and who knows how many years I have left. And it's been a wonderful experience in coming to Krishna consciousness and meeting Srila Prabhupada and doing incredible things with Srila Prabhupada, which will never be forgotten. And also, I have with me tonight some beautiful stories during my Vapu association, my physical association with Srila Prabhupada. Some are humorous. Prabhupada had a wonderful sense of humor, which he exhibited from time to time. Not regularly, because that is not the relationship that one has with his spiritual master. Lord Chaitanya, he says that a disciple should appear a fool in front of his spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada was a Shaktavesha Advaita. He was empowered by Krishna within his heart. And that is why my Shraddha, let's begin with some narrative around Shraddha. And what I'd like to do, instead of talking or describing things, I want to try to embellish what I'm saying. I want to give my words texture. So you will have a sort of visual within your minds as to what I'm saying. You will have like an image or a realization. So it's described in the Shastras that Shravanam Kirtanam, Kirtanam or speaking. Kirtanam is chanting and Kirtanam is speaking. And Shravanam, that is your responsibility, tonight at least. So depending on how much people want to hear, Krishna within my heart will give me the words to respond to your need to hear about Krishna consciousness today. So what do you think of that? It's good. So, even though there's Vani, reading the instructions of the spiritual master, because the spiritual master is not physically present with us, we have, it develops an incredible Shraddha of faith, the words of the spiritual master. And Prabhupada has left a lot of words. You know, he has printed and he's spoken. When Prabhupada was speaking in the early hours of the morning through his dictaphone, Srila Prabhupada would say that they're not my words. These are not my words. These are Krishna's words. These are Krishna's words. So when Srila Prabhupada, in those early hours of the morning, when everyone else is asleep, that relationship with his dictaphone was sacrosanct. They were very extremely special. So that is why there are so many devotees and constantly increasing. I'm not sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Lokanath Maharaj, I think he initiated another 300 disciples recently in Vrindavan. I'm not sure if that's correct.
Basana.
Can someone tell me the figures?
Basana.
Basana. So was it 300 approximately?
Yeah.
So you see. So you see. These books, and also for the disciples of Srila Prabhupada that have taken his examples so seriously, and Lokanath Maharaj being one of those disciples, that now he's taking on an incredible amount of disciples, and those disciples are becoming so enthusiastic and they're spreading Krishna consciousness throughout the world. And that's exactly what Srila Prabhupada had in mind when he first began. Because in those very cold winter days in Boston, in America, when Srila Prabhupada was walking the streets in 6 inches of snow at least, with his menial pieces of cloth, his chadar, and his little Prabhupada hat, one American gentleman said to Srila Prabhupada, "So what is your intention, Swamiji? What is your intention coming to America?" And Prabhupada said, "My intention is to have many disciples and also to build many temples." and print many books. But he said, at the moment, it is only time separating me from that. And now we see today how that is manifested so wonderfully by Srila Prabhupada's humility. And I'm saying all this and I'm sharing all these things with you because when you have had the physical association, we have the Vani, but when you have been somehow or other blessed by the unlimited mercy of God and Guru, then how can you not be faithful? How can you not have Shraddha when you're actually with that wonderful spiritual soul, Srila Prabhupada? And when I met Srila Prabhupada in 1971 in London, I had just come off Sankirtan and we used to chant up to 6 hours a day, going back and forth a very large street in London called Oxford Street. And I came off chanting, and I took a shower and I changed, and I found myself taking much more time this evening. And I was in anxiety because I was thinking, I'm not going to be in time for the outing at 7 o'clock. Why am I taking so much time with my dress tonight? I was thinking to myself. And as I was about to go into the temple room, the temple president, his name was Dhananjaya, and he was a very good friend of mine, he said, Srila Prabhupada would like to see you. And immediately my heart was beating, beating like a drum. I was only 6 months in the movement. I was a young 20-year-old. So that's 50 years ago almost. It's a long time. I've changed a little bit since then. I was a good-looking 20-year-old. So, very nervously I went up to Srila Prabhupada's room, and this is what I want to share with you tonight. When the door opened of the room, I didn't even look at the room initially. I just immediately paid my obeisances. But then, as I slowly got up, there was a glow in the room. Honestly, there was a glow. And there he was, Srila Prabhupada. And he said to me, I hear that you have some experience with construction work. I didn't have a lot of experience with construction work. I had some experience, but not a lot. So I said, yes, Srila Prabhupada, I do have some experience. I want you to go to Vrindavan immediately and build a temple for Krishna Balaram. How do I do that? How many people are in the world? What is the population of the world? And I've been asked by Srila Prabhupada to do that. So within 6 months I was in Vrindavan. It took me time to collect money and we went on the flight. We went on a one-way ticket on Syrian Arab Airlines. What an airline. Can you imagine going on Syrian Arab Airlines today? I don't think so. But coming back to that experience in the room, in the Brihad Bhagavatam Amrita, a great acharya in our line of disciplic succession, Sridhar Swami. And he writes that when he writes about Hiranmayam, Hiranmayam is described as an effulgence. And he relates it to Dhruva Maharaj. When Dhruva Maharaj had finished his meditation on Krishna, you look up into the sky and you see this transcendental airship from the Vaikuntha planets, and it came closer and closer and closer. And it landed. And that was for the purpose of taking Dhruva Maharaj back to the Vaikuntha Lokas. So what happened? When the airship landed, he circumambulated 3 times that airship. And as he was circumambulating, his body started to shine, started to glow. And that was in preparation. That was the bodily requirement, that spiritual body, to live in the Vaikuntha Lokas. So, Lord Chaitanya, he also came in the mood of Radharani. And Radharani's complexion is Tapta Kancha and Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavan Ishwari. Her complexion is the most beautiful complexion that one could ever envision. Molten gold. Beautiful. So all the Vaikuntha Vasis, they have this complexion of molten gold. Beautiful forms, beautiful characters, integrity. Vrityam jnanam etena jnanino nityavarinā kama rupena kuntaya tusparena varinacham. Lord Chaitanya, he also came in that mood. His body was golden complexion. So when I was in that room with Srila Prabhupada, I experienced that complexion of Srila Prabhupada. And that is why my faith is undeterred, because I was with Srila Prabhupada for that short amount of time in Vrindavan. And I had this incredible experience that I wanted to share with you, and then we'll slowly go back into the philosophy that I'm sharing with you this evening. When Srila Prabhupada was back in his home, because he regarded Vrindavan as his home, he was unwell. His body was breaking down. And he was up in Rishikesh. It was thought that due to the weather conditions there, Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Bhakti Charu Maharaj and some other of his some other senior disciples. But the weather changed and it became cold and windy. So Srila Prabhupada called Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and actually this story was related during the Kartik festival, and he was explaining that Prabhupada said, I want you to take me back to Vrindavan because I'm going to leave, I'm going to die.